I didn't expect to play over 90 fucking games this year. I've had a lot of free time. I'm starting to feel like those words kind of curse me for this whole year. Obviously, I haven't uploaded anything all year. That's because instead of talking about video games, once again, I was playing video games. I did indeed beat 100 games again this year. Unfortunately, this year was a little different. Okay, so let me preface this with the backlog video. I kind of was like, okay, I can like breathe a little bit, you know. I came to the general conclusion myself that there's no need for a backlog. And you know what I did this year? I didn't play anything that was on my backlog, quote unquote. I just kind of played whatever I wanted to play and played it when I wanted to play it, like I said in the video. But there were some caveats to that. One particular caveat is I wanted to play more Western RPGs and I wanted to play more platformers. I wanted to play more genres. Wow, I sound like I'm rehashing that video now that I think about it. But yeah, everything I said in that video, I did this year, and this is the results of that. So I thought it would be fun to talk about all those games, really because I want to kind of dissect the experiment that I had this year and just talk about how enlightening of an experience it was to not be a weirdo on the internet and like scapegoat your own hobby. You know what I mean? That's kind of the general consensus that I've come to understand when it comes to the entire concept of a backlog, is that there's no reason to fucking have like just play whatever you want. Who cares? Like just play it when you want to play it. Still, I have a giant list of games that I would love to play, and if you check my backlog account, of course, obviously, I still have a fucking backlog, but it's not dictating what I play. Kind of just dictate what I want to play on my own. And I wanted to explore more genres and not just conform to what I'm used to, mainly out of necessity for not getting too stagnant. Because once again, I beat 100 games last year. I beat 100 games this year. After a certain point, you can only play so many JRPGs and action games and shooting games. You know what I'm saying? So let's spice it up a little bit like that. And I've done this before. Like obviously, if you follow me on Backlog, which you should follow me on Backlog, you will see way more in-depth and cohesive thought than what I'm about to bring to you right here. And just to set a little bit of ground rules for this ranking, because it's going to get very controversial very fast. This is not based on objectivity or subjectivity or any dumbass metric that you would put. This is strictly a vibes. That's what we're getting at, okay? Starting off with... It just sounds wild to say. I'm sorry. Okay, listen. Starting out with number 100 out of... This is going to be a long-ass video. I can already tell. Plain and simple, I do not like meme games. I don't like a jazz punk. I don't like any of those getting over it with Bennett Fondy ass games, baby steps. I don't like games that are just meant to be memes. I like my games to have a little bit of substance to them. Not to say that they don't have substance to them. Shout out Aussie, because this is a very British game and I'm not very British. For me, playing this game, the jokes just go over my head and I feel like I'm wasting my time playing it. It's like an interactive book. It's like when you play like a Newgrounds game or, you know, Addicting Games ass game where you just click a bunch of stuff and then fart noises happen and you go hee hee hee, but I'm not 12 fucking years old, I'm 30, so I don't care. Apartment Story is a game that I followed its development on Twitter. It looked really cool, and honestly, I'm a sucker for games that follow niggas, put it bluntly. And it's a very disappointing game. Extremely disappointing game. Imagine a game where it plays like The Sims 2 on PlayStation 2, you know, where you only control your sim and you walk around and you still have to piss, shit, and smoke weed. It has this very interesting and gripping story that is told in a way that is antithetical to the gameplay that you're playing as. You're stuck essentially in this apartment and you're just walking around just doing bullshit and fuckery. And then eventually stuff will happen that will progress the story. And the story is a little off-putting a little bit like that, and I don't necessarily think that it was a good story, nor did I think that it was a good game, and I don't believe that Apartment Story is a good medium to tell the kind of story that they were trying to tell. But also, if your main point of Apartment Story is that you're stuck in this apartment, you're stuck in a depressive state, why the fuck am I smoking weed and playing music to raise my moodlets, and I have to wait a full fucking hour of gameplay in order to progress the story? And then the story has permanence to where it feels like I shouldn't just be still in this apartment doing nothing. I just got my ass beaten, robbed. Why am I still sitting here in my underwear going, well, I guess I should sit here and eat a sandwich? No. To put Necrovision bluntly, I would say that the idea is good, but when I play shooting games, I kind of want to shoot people, and I kind of want people to like hammer in the theme of the game on like constantly. Onboarding process of this game is so asinine, it sucks. It's grating to play. And then when I finally get to play the game, and it's like the complete opposite of what the story was trying to hammer into me for the last 20 minutes. The gameplay, honestly, it's pretty shitty. Listen, you'll see later. I play a lot of shitty games, and they're ranked higher than this game for a lot of reasons. The main reason is the onboarding on this game sucks. And this is one of the first games, like first person games, that legitimately gave me motion sickness. And I'm not usually one of those kinds of people, but like the muzzle flash and the head bobble and the camera sway, the way that the game looks, everything just gave me a headache, and I almost wanted to throw up just even playing the game. So the fact that that's a thing, when you're going to see, I play a lot more shooting games than this, and none of them gave me that issue, and they're way more complex than this game, goes to show you how bad this game is. I know a lot of you guys are going to scream at me in the comments about Jak and Daxter. As somebody that's 30, and this isn't one of the first games I've ever played, and this isn't one of the first times I've held a controller in my hand, Jak and Daxter does not feel like it aged well. I know people love to say this all the time, but I did not feel in control throughout most of my time playing this game. And a lot of the platforming, a lot of the just overall gameplay, I mean, it's like decent. It's down here mainly because I get frustrated with platformers. Like I said, I played a lot of platformers this year, mainly because I understand that Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite game of all time, and that is a platformer. But I don't necessarily like platformers as a genre. I've been trying to diagnose why that is. So I decided to go and play a bunch of platformers that people would necessarily call classics. And Jak and Daxter is one of those ones that everybody's like, oh, you gotta play Jak and Daxter, that's a classic. Then I play it and I'm like, it's good enough that I beat the entire game. I almost got 100%. I think I got like 98%. I got really close to getting everything in the game. So it's not that bad, but it still wasn't fun to me personally. If we continue Boater Digital, Shyness will be one of those games that I would love to like really dig in and tackle, but it kind of just sucks. Like the exploration sucks, the combat sucks, the character sucks, like everything kind of sucks. It doesn't help that I got about like 30-40% done with the game last time I booted this up forever ago, and I went right back into my original save. That was not a good idea because I was in the middle of a dungeon and I didn't know what was going on. I forgot all the controls, I forgot the story. It was just a lot going on, and it was just a vibe check that just made me bounce out. I restarted, played like another like 2 or 3 hours, and I was like, nah, I can't do this, bro. I'm sorry, I can't do this. It's one I would really love to go in deeper and digest further and actually see what it has going for it, because it reminds me so much of Naruto Rise of Ninja, which is another Boater title, by the way. Maybe I'll play it again later in the future. Maybe we'll play it on the channel. I don't know. So when I got a Steam Deck, I downloaded, I think, too many ROMs. Like I just kind of just went down like list of like the top rated ROMs for like each console and just ripped them all from my, you know, from my cartridges that I have around the house, allegedly, you know. So Excalibur 2097 is I don't even know what you would call it, like a Strider. Like I don't know. I'm too young for all that. But all I know is the boss fights are like literal fighting game duels, and they're horrible. It is terrible. Oh my god, bro. Like imagine if every boss fight in Devil May Cry was based off of luck, and that's the entire game. It's ass. I'm sorry. It's ass. 99 Nights fucking sucks. I hate this game. There's never been a game I've wanted more than to like break in half the disc. Like I've screamed. I ripped my do-rag in half, like off my head. I just ripped it like Stone Cold Steve Austin ripping a shirt. Like I got so vehemently mad at this game, and I thought it was just the characters. I was like, maybe it's just his level. Maybe it's just his character, because Myphy, I love playing Myphy. The Kratos dude, love playing him. The White Goblin, love playing him. And then every other character, I almost screamed right now. I had to hold it back. I had to breathe. This should be lower on the list. You'll probably hear more about it. Go watch our Back of the Rack video on it. So, yeah. I probably talk for 2 hours about how shitty this game is there. So, if you want to hear more about that, watch Back of the Rack. It's like everything I hate about modern games in a nutshell. But it does have this cool feature to where when you're platforming, it has a little reticule on the floor to let you know exactly where you're gonna land. That's a cool feature. But everything else, like the gear scores and like side quests and dungeons, like why is this in my fucking platformy robot game? Like just make it linear. If you made it linear, it probably would have been a way cooler game, but it's not. Genuinely, I played it. I actually played it twice through, and I couldn't tell you shit about it. I forgot everything about it. It's, imagine if instead of doom scrolling like Twitter, you just tap buttons on when the past was around until you eventually beat the game and you felt better about yourself because you didn't scroll on Twitter. Instead, you tap buttons about a girl playing a recorder or whatever. I forgot, was it a saxophone? I forgot the instrument. Violin. If it was a violin. Whatever. Anyway, that's essentially what I did with it. Instead of doom scrolling Twitter, I tap buttons until I beat the game. Never recommend me Fury ever again. To all the people in my life that was like, yo, Fury, that's a you game. I know it, bro. It's so you, bro. Fury, that's a game I know you would enjoy, bro. I finally played it, bro. Guess what? It's not a game I would enjoy. You don't fucking know me. This game I don't care. It doesn't suck. Mainly personally for me, I don't really like boss rush games. I don't like games where you're just fighting bosses. I kind of am in it for the adventure and I like the build up. You know what I'm saying? Give me some foreplay before I fight my boss. And I don't mean just walking and talking to me about some bullshit I'm trying to figure out in between the bosses. No, I mean like, let me get a little bit of adventure before those boss fights. Let me savor in the combat. Let me learn a little bit of tricks. Let me practice some combos on some mooks before I do it on the boss. You know what I'm saying? Half the bosses being half twin stick shooter, half shitty combat is kind of like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island is probably one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. I'm so dead ass serious. Mainly because it understands it's a fucking video game and it's for kids and it's just junk food. There's a category of video games that I classify as junk food games, and this is the most like Sour Patch Kids ass game I've ever played in my life, other than the Sour Patch Kids game. It's just fun to just jump around as SpongeBob and smack shit and collect little diblets and go wahoo! Oh wow, look, Danny Phantom! Like, what are you expecting this to have like some like riveting like soundtrack and gameplay and no, it's a fucking game for 7-year-olds that you buy for $20 when they keep asking you for a new video game. And that's exactly what I got. I like it. Dare I say, I should bump it up. No, I'm not gonna bump it up though. But I should. Speaking of bumping up. Same reason I said about Jak and Daxter, how for a lot of people, Super Mario 64 is the first time they ever picked up a controller, ever played a game, ever controlled anybody. This is an insanely overrated game. And I think this might be my least favorite Mario game I've played yet. Hate the movement in this game, and I don't want to hear that but at the time I don't care. And I know everybody's gonna be like, this is one of the greatest games of all time. And once again, as I was saying in the beginning, to preface the games that I was playing throughout this year, I was kind of trying to play like the classics, the games that everybody was saying that these were the ones. And specifically, GoToQuest told me to play all of the Mario games as a challenge, at least until Galaxy. So I did that. I played, there's gonna be a lot more Mario games that are actually ranked higher, but this is the first of the 3D games. I haven't played Sunshine yet. For me personally, I think what it is that just bounces off me with Super Mario 64 is that I don't find fun in walking around and interacting with every little giblet until something happens and a star pops out. I don't think that's fun. Sorry guys, didn't fuck with it. Maybe Sunshine, maybe Galaxy. Rainbow Six Vegas 2 would probably have been better if I played it on PC. I don't know what it is about PlayStation 3 controllers and just the PlayStation 3 in general that just feels like it has to play a lot of shooters. I don't know what it is with that 6-axis controller, bro. Like, there's a dead zone in there that's like super gross. It's so tight, and it's antithetical to Rainbow Six Vegas 2, especially because it's supposed to be like a tactical, wactical, dad-ass shooter. I did have a lot of fun with it, but I also saw the cracks in this game a lot more than I did the first game when I replayed that. And in this game specifically, there's a lot of areas where you'll be playing and then you'll just see enemies pop up out of nowhere and spawn right beside you or behind you or in front of you. and there's a lot less emphasis on tactical gameplay, because no matter, even if you strategically take out everybody in an area silently, stealthily, they're still gonna just spawn in and go all out on you, so you're gonna have to turn this into a standard cover shooter anyway. So there isn't really any real need to go silent, you know what I mean? And that was the fun part about the first game, was that you could go in silent, but you could also go in loud, and there was different ramifications and ways that you can do every scenario in that first game, but not in the second game. No, it's just standard as cover shooter. And it, after having Hylix on the cover for the last video I did, I finally played Hylix. As an art piece, it succeeds, but as a video game, no. As a kid, I used to play RPG Maker XP games. I used to make RPG Maker games all the time in my spare time. I used to browse the RPG Maker forums and see all the weird, quirky builds and code that people will post, so you can have action RPG or this kind of battle system or this kind of menu system. Like, I was in the weeds when it came to this RPG Maker shit, right? And I've played a lot, and I mean a lot, of RPG Maker games throughout the years. So playing Hylix, and it's just like the most basic RPG Maker ass game like ever, other than the way it looks. It's like, oh, this is what people was hyping up. It's really just the vibes. Like, people only hype this game up because of the vibes. They don't hype it up because like it's anything else. They really hype it up because it looks cool. And you know what? I respect it, because it looks cool. Rakugaki Showtime is this low on the list, not because it's a bad game per se, but just like, it's just one of those games that's of the time, you know? And, you know, 30 years old, mostly single player gamer me, it ain't so much you can do with this game. It's a fighting game, and I would much rather play Third Strike arcade mode or Tekken 4 or Virtual Fighter or any of the other myriad of fighting games I have on my shelf over this game. And this is a game that would have excelled as a party game. That's the issue that I have, especially when it comes to like playing certain genres, especially like fighting games, strategy games, and multiplayer specific games that are from the past. You don't really get the full experience unless you really have somebody that you could play this game with, and I don't. So yeah, art's cool though. It's a really cool ass art style. I'm gonna be so real, I didn't know how good I had it as a Wii kid. So as a kid, you know, my 360 broke for a while. You know, everybody's 360 broke at the time. That's how I played Star Wars The Force Unleashed, was on Wii, and it was a grand old time. I have very fond memories of it. Still love that game. Unfortunately, the 360 version's ass. And that's what I played. It's not good at all. It's kind of ass. It's ashy. I might cause a riot with this one, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, I think Expedition 33 is a good game. Yes. Is it the greatest of all time? No. Is it one of the greatest JRPGs ever made? No. Is it one of the greatest games this year? Yes. Is it one of the greatest games of this decade? No. It's one of those games where the hype of it have kind of elevated the game higher than it is. Like, Skill Up's calling this shit's like, calm the fuck down. It's not a masterpiece, guys. Like, chill out. There's obviously glaring issues, especially when it comes to Act 2 and 3. I will say, I think my biggest gripe with this game is that I believe that turn-based games have a give and a take. And if the enemy's turn is just me parrying and inerting all of their actions, that's not a turn-based game. And you're better off making it another system of the sorts, you know? I don't really find the world that fascinating. And extremely hot take, I think, or maybe extremely cold take probably, I think people who don't play JRPGs, and I'm not talking about, you know, just the whatever the hot JRPG of the year is, like Tales of Abyss or Abyss, what the fuck am I talking? Tales of Arise or any of the other, you know, there's usually a JRPG. One JRPG everybody like puts their hat in, Metaphor, Final Fantasy, whatever it is of the year. I'm talking about like the Dark Rose Valkyries. I'm talking about the Shining Reframes. I'm talking about the Hyperdimensional Neptunius. Like, if you really be playing JRPGs, the story, the gameplay, the content, it is nothing new that hasn't been released just last year, let alone in the last couple of years, decade. JRPGs have been doing this, and this game falls for a lot of JRPG tropes. But because people see Ben Starr and Charlie Cox and people that don't look like anime girls and screaming, Nissan, then they just assume that the story and everything is so gripping and so wow. And it's like, this is the same shit as any other JRPG. It's just white people. 13 is mid. Not really a good shooter or a spy game or a stealth game. It's kind of just Just a game. It is a shooter of 2003. You know what I'm saying? And even by that standards, I don't think it was pretty good at the time. I think the cell shading carries this game a lot. And listen, before we get any further, you're already 30 minutes into this video. If you think I'm going to give every single game out of 100 games this riveting masterclass dissection of what the game was and all this bullshit, like I said, go click my backlog if you want to read my genuine thought out thoughts on these games. But sometimes a game is mid, and you know, it's not saying it wasn't fun to play. That shit was fun as hell to play. But compared to everything else I played this year, I've always joked on the podcast about my hate for Mario, but Super Mario World is one of the first games I remember playing as a child. Like that, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Goof Troop. Still a fun game. Still a really, really fun game. But I've kind of just been hate playing through Mario games, and I don't know if it's like my Sonic level autism that is jading me from these games, or the fact that I played more than World 1-1 and 1-2 on one of these Mario games. Because I feel like a lot of people really just play Mario for like the first like 3 or 4 levels and go like, yeah, I had fun playing Mario. Yeah, that was fun. But like, who really sat down and played all 8 worlds other than like, you know, the Minish Cap Mafia that really be like gunning for Mario? You know what I'm saying? Like, I assume a lot of people have played like Galaxy and all of those games, like the 3D Marios to completion, yes, but the 2D Marios, don't cap. You haven't played through all of them. Stop it. No, you didn't. All right, never mind. I realize I'm saying this on a gaming YouTube channel, so you watching this, you probably have. I was editing this and I was like, oh yeah, I have a gaming YouTube channel. 99% of the people that are watching this have beaten Super Mario World. Now I know what you're saying. X-Men Destiny over Claire Obscure? Over Super Mario World? Over 64? Over Jack and Dexter? Yes, nigga. I started from 11 a.m. I finished at 2 p.m. and I was like, damn, that's a good ass game. No, okay, I didn't say that was a good ass game, but it was a fun ass game. I will say that. And I've talked about this during Watch Our Boulder episode for 3 hours of me talking about X-Men Destiny and why I didn't like about the game. But for a schlocky budget beat 'em up game, but the marketing makes this game, and if you were there for the marketing, which I was, I watched the Angry Joe reviews. I know. For what it's worth, it's a pretty good beat 'em up game. Like if I played this game at the time that the game came out when I was like 13, 14, I would have fucking loved this game. I would be praising this game up and down. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a game that I wanted to really dive into, and I got really far, but I never beat, just because there's like a problem where they always want you to have an awesome button. There's always something cinematic. There's always a set piece happening. I can never really get into the weeds of the gameplay loop, because anytime that I do get right into the gameplay loop, they snatch me right back out of it to put me back in some cinematic or some 20-minute cutscene about some bullshit. And honestly, after playing 2 other Tomb Raider games last year of the exact same bullshit, I didn't want to do any more of that. Don't hate me for this, but I actually like the new Skate game. Minus the microtransactions, minus the predatory shop system and the loot boxes, minus there's nothing to do in the world and the world's pretty empty and the AI won't shut the fuck up in your ear, minus the weird art style and the very lack of customization and the removal of tricks that you could do in previous games like hitching on the back of cars, minus the fact that it's online only and it's probably going to die in like a year and a half when everybody gets off of Skate. You know what I'm saying? Just hop on with the homies. Hey bro, let's skate. We find a little spot like on some Lupe Fiasco kick push. Our 4 wheels will take us there and we just vibe the fuck out, skating the same rail or whatever, just doing tricks. It was fun for the week that I played it, so I give it that. Assault Supply is made by one dude, Wazin, and I remember seeing all the time clips on Twitter of him and his new game, Mighty Reina, and I didn't realize this was the same person when I bought this game for like 99 cents. It's just fun. It's really, really fun. I like the main character in his briefcase. I think that's a really cool weapon idea for a character action game, and the entire idea of spies fighting and the corporate ladder literally is really, really refreshing. Obviously, it's made by one person. Obviously, it's not as polished or as beautiful as it could be, obviously. But for what it's worth and for the $1 that I paid for this game, I think it was really, really good. I found Scott Pilgrim's long lost cousin, which is really, really cool because this is about the same actual developers of the Scott Pilgrim video game. The TMNT Game Boy Advance game based on the movie TMNT. Like, it's like 1-to-1. Like, it's got the shops, it's got the random bullshit, it's got the character, like the animations, the music. It's just Scott Pilgrim but with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love it. Trepang 2, in theory, is a game that I should enjoy a lot, mainly because it's just more Fear, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I've been begging for more Fear 1 coded games, and I feel like there was a time where there was possibly a Fear clone, but there has been Fear clones in the indie scene. Instead of making boomer shooters, they've been making some Fear clones, and Trepang 2 is the main one that's like, hey, look, I'm wearing my inspirations on my sleeve. And it's kind of inoffensive. It's good, but I mean, it isn't anything that stands out. I'm not gonna like make this my personality, but I can imagine, like I've seen with the community of this game, if this is your Fear 1, but in Trepang 2, I don't know, in a weird sense way, you can enjoy this game a lot, get a lot of replay value because of like the horde mode and the different difficulties and all the unlockables and co-ops and all that stuff. So I see the appeal, but to me, playing through it real quick, it was just like, it was all right. It was okay. Bolt Gun kind of fits that same standing that I was just talking about with Trepang, but instead of for Fear clones and the like, take that and make it Warhammer and boomer shooters. It's not anything revolutionary at all. Is it good? Yes, of course, but is it moving a needle or anything? And not to say that necessarily any game has to move a needle per se, but it's just, I see the people that make this their personality and I understand why, but this ain't even the first boomer shooter I played this year, let alone, like, it's whatever. Distraction from work core. This is the kind of flash game that you would play one day and that'll be it, but it's a full price game on Steam, so. I wanted to like Bleach Soul Resurrection so bad because the inner 12-year-old in me that used to watch gameplay videos and like want a PS3 so bad just for this game, that person wanted this game to be so good, but unfortunately it is not good. I don't think this is a novel thing to say that we like Muso games here and we are Muso freaks here. On Back of the Rack, we talk about it all the time. We have a running joke of calling us the Koei cast because of how much we like Koei games and Muso games in general. My definition of Muso games would definitely not be running in straight lines and tapping one button until everything is done, because Muso games have, you know, bases you can capture, they have objectives, they have other shit that you do other than mindlessly destroy hordes of people. Bleach Soul Resurrection, they want you to like keep replaying the game so you can unlock the skill trees and like I guess play on harder difficulties and stuff, but like they want me to do that with every character. This might be a controversial one, but I'm just going to keep it as bluntly as possible. Do you think that you will be playing this game in 6 months or a year? Do you think the internet will care for this game in 6 months or a year? I thought that the internet would love and care for Marvel. I thought I would still be playing Marvel Rivals to this day, but I am not. I feel like this is just one of those flavor of the month multiplayer games that everybody's going to move on with once the next big shiny thing comes and takes everybody's attention away from it. I mean, that's just par for the course. Plus they use generative AI. I mean, the whole extraction shooter thing. This is literally just a Division without the RPG numbers. Like, that's it. Is just queue into the dark zone and fight people or don't fight people. Like, that's it. And I kind of have my fair share of that, and I don't really like playing games and dying to some nigga shooting me in the back. I don't think that's fun. My replay of State of Decay is a little weird because I played this is like one of the last games I played on Xbox 360, and I played this to death. I played it nonstop. Played the Lifeline and the other one with the military people. I forgot. Breakdown. There's one mode that's a roguelike and one mode where you play the military people. I played both of those modes until I died a couple times, and I kind of didn't want to play anymore. Breakdown, or whatever the roguelike mode is called, I'm mixing both of these up. That one specifically has this weird thing where like your base is constantly being invaded, I guess, to keep a sense of progression and force you to go and actually go around the world instead of just hunkering down like you normally do in the main story. But I never was able to like really ground myself in the game because I was constantly being attacked, people were constantly dying, and I didn't really find that part fun. And Lifeline just didn't feel like State of Decay. It felt like I was just playing a standard like third-person action game with zombies in it. Like, that's how it felt, and it didn't feel. It felt antithetical to the way that State of Decay was being made. So I don't know. Maybe next year, if I make this an annual tradition, you'll see State of Decay 2 on the next video. But I digress. I mean, it's fun. Listen, I play a lot of survival horror games. Survival horror is one of my favorite genres, and I will die on this hill of being Crow Country and Signalis's biggest. It was alright. I don't think that either of these games, I'm not even talking about Signalis. I played Signalis last year, but regardless of the fact, it's the same situation as Crow Country, where I feel like there's a lot of hype around it, and I appreciate it, and it does have a really cool style. But I don't think survival horror games are good if I can just run past all the monsters and not really conflate with half of the mechanics. Like, if combat is a non-factor, then why are there monsters, and why are you giving me all this ammo and items to fight if I'm not even fighting monsters? And I think that's the issue, is that maybe it's a me thing. Maybe I just play too many survival horror games to where, like, I don't get immersed and be like, oh, I'm gonna let this guy attack me and stand here and shoot every zombie. Like, no, I know to save my ammo and run past everybody until I can really am stocked up and I can start blasting on people. But I didn't do that with Crow Country. I just kind of just played this like a scary puzzle game. Slave Zero X made me play Slave Zero before I played Slave Zero X, because I was on my, I gotta play the first game before I play this. I was on that kick. Slave Zero X, unfortunately, I didn't like as much as I liked the first Slave Zero. And let me explain. Slave Zero X is a very stylish game. It is extremely Sondi coded, and I loved every second that I had playing this game. But also, being juggled by 100 enemies to death isn't what I described as peak gameplay. But when you are juggling 100 enemies to death, oh, that shit is balling. And there's this weird dichotomy between hand. And also, I didn't learn how to do the parry until the final boss, which is fucking weird, because they tried to explain it to you in the beginning, and they was a horrible tutorial, and then I didn't use it or needed it or do it until the final boss when I needed it. And if I knew how to do the parry, maybe I wouldn't have gotten juggled by 100 enemies. But it'll probably be fun on a replay. Ultra Cop reminds me of those games that you would have on Shockwave, on a random flash game site, where it's just a playground for you to shoot a bunch of people with really cool guns and be like, wow, look at the dude's head explode. I get that exact same feeling from Ultra Cop, and I think that's what the developer was trying to do. So I can't even knock them off that. I had an extremely fun night drinking beers and playing this game. Job's accomplished. Once again, I have to preface that I am not a Mario guy. I'm just solidifying myself by beating this game so I can understand it more. Super Mario Bros. 3, I think, is the one I had the least amount of fun in, but I felt the most in control. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Bendezzer is a unique game, but would I say it's a fun game? Questionable at times. It's very repetitive, and it's a little too long for my liking. Once again, I have to preface this that this is a Game Boy Advance game that probably was meant to be picked up and played in the car rides between, church and all that. So I definitely don't think binging it all in one sitting on an off day is the right choice for Drill Dozer, but that's what I did, and so that's how it felt to me to play, and I was like, I'm not fucking with this. But to each his own. Don't think it's necessarily a bad game. It's just down here because 65 other games on this list were more fun to play. Speaking of Game Boy Advance games, this might be an extremely controversial take, but Sonic Advance 2 might be the second best in the series. It's definitely not 3. I think it's Sonic Advance 1, Sonic Advance 2. I think it goes in chronological order. I think it goes like that. And I think the most annoying part about this game is that there isn't like a dedicated button to grinding the rails. And so a lot of your deaths are over pits and you don't grab the rail because you didn't jump on it at the right doohickey or time or trajectory to land on the fucking pole. I don't know. It's a very annoying mechanic. But either way, regardless of the fact, Sonic Advance 2 is just as fun as Sonic Advance 1. Now, this is an unfortunate thing to me personally, because I started this year and I wanted to start it off strong by playing Ocarina of Time. I was finally moved in, but the caveat is I started Ocarina of Time last year, and I think I got halfway through the volcano. What's the Gerudo dungeon? I forgot, but I got like halfway through there, and when I was in the process of moving, and then once I finally finished moving, I just forgot about the game, and I was like, all right, let's start January 1st. Hop right back on my save, because I was like, I don't fairly feel like doing the Lost Woods again. So let me just, I was probably early in the game, so let me just continue on forth. That was a bad idea because I bounced off this game so hard. It was so bad. I wanted to get immersed in this game, and it was one of the reasons why I say, why the fuck did I beat 100 games again this year? Because this game, I wanted to spend like 2 months playing, I just wanted to just get lost and get every heart piece, every single item, explore every nook and cranny. Like, I didn't, obviously, and I beat 100 games, so it is what it is. Maybe next year it'll be on this list if I make this a series. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Wind Waker still clears. Tony Hawk Underground made me think to myself that maybe I should slot in more games into my shuffle just to have like a casual game to play when I'm not really in the mood for something super serious or open world. And then I played Tony Hawk Underground and I was like, bro, this game is, I am not 12 anymore. I can't play this game anymore. I don't know what it is. Like, the fact that you have to do the tricks as like Mortal Kombat combos while still having to maintain balance, it just like threw me off because I was trying to learn everything, and I was doing the creative trick and all that stuff, and I just think I'm just too dumb brain for it, and think that's why I fuck with Skate a lot more. It's because I can just flick the right stick and eventually something cool will happen and I go, whoa, he did a quadruple flip, bro, cool. This game is very disappointing to me because on paper, Banisher should be like my game, bro. It's got niggas in it. It's got Ghost. It's got Voodoo. It's got a very compelling story. And unfortunately, it just falls for a lot of modern trappings. For some reason, no matter where you go, there's always something you gotta shimmy across or slowly walk past or slowly crawl under, or hey, lift this boulder, I'm gonna lift it with you. Like, god damn, bro. And the fact that this is an open world game, for some reason, you have to do a lot of backtracking because you gotta go to a fast travel point to fast travel to other fast travel points. You can't just go to like central hubs or anything like that, and you gotta do a lot of side quests to get whatever ending that you want with this game. This is a game that I would definitely finish. I've got like 3/4 of the way before I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't, especially because they have like grinding infinite areas, and there's one, like, just to explain how fucking stupid this is. So you gotta go from one fast travel location, go to the other fast travel location, walk through this fucking cave, go to this infinite void thing, teleport to this new area, finish the void, then it teleports you to a random fuck ass spot on the map. So then you gotta travel to the same fast travel spot to travel to the same fast travel spot so you can go down the same cave to go into the same infinite void so you can increase your stats and get gear. Why do I have a gear score in loot? I don't want no fucking +3 torch. What are we doing with ourselves? You're wasting my fucking time. Make this linear and make it a fun time. That's the thesis of this whole year. And I'm venting my frustrations now. Make games linear again. We do not need all of this bloat, all of this gear. I don't need 30,000 collectibles. Your game's not that important, bro. You gotta understand. There's 1,000 fucking games out right now, and obviously, maybe everybody's not playing 100 games a year, but maybe they would if you motherfuckers wasn't making every open world 1,000 fucking hours. Holy shit. Dokapon Kingdom as a game, honestly, is more fun with friends. And this is the first time I got friends because of the Dokapon Kingdom Connect port that came out that has online play that I can play with friends and they wouldn't fall asleep or be on their phones next to me. Instead, they can fall asleep or be on their phones away from me. This is the first time we tried to actually beat the game. Unfortunately, that never happened. I think we got like to chapter 5 and it was like, okay, I'm just grinding now. I'm just playing a JRPG, but I have to take turns. And that wasn't really fun, so we just gave up and played Repo or something. I don't know. I know I just ranted about open world games, but there's a lot of frustration when it comes to this. At the time of recording this, this is the latest game that I've played, and the same fucking sentiment stands with this game as well. God damn, like, cut out the open world and just make it a more zany, linear, third-person yokai shooting, like, first-person game. Like, just make it that, but like, take out all the open world. Why am I gliding around and like picking up fucking souls? Like, stop. Like, this shit is boring as fuck. But when I get on that main story though, it be lit. So I've just been main roading the game, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's still annoying as fuck to walk through the open world. Like, but I will say that the open world is very detailed. This is probably the most densely packed open world that I've played in a very long time. And I don't mean like densely packed as people would say with like, oh, there's an activity here and I can get lost here. No, I mean like literally densely packed. Like every stair you can like walk through. There's so many buildings that you can go into and they have like their own. There's so much to every area and every nook and cranny that I genuinely felt like I was in Tokyo in that area. And I think that's a testament to itself. And maybe is a good excuse for the open world, because I mean, while it's shitty with the activities and collectibles and all the other shit that's in the open world, and besides, it's dead as fuck because of the plot of the everybody's a ghost. Like, that's the plot of the game, is that Shibuya's district everybody gets turned into a ghost, and you gotta save them. And so there's no people around other than like floating specters and the enemies that you fight. So it's just like a lifeless city that you can walk around and do stuff, which is ominous. It feels weird, but this doesn't feel like there should be a reason for an open world. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like open world should be alive. And even Elden Ring and fucking Dark Souls and any other Souls, like, they still feel alive, even though there's a bunch of undead people walking around. I think you can easily sell this game to anybody that was looking at this game and just thought, oh, it's just a cool game where you have a camera. No, imagine if you were a wartime photographer doing Evangelion. Like, that's enough of a selling point right there. And it wasn't until I started playing this and I was like, oh, this is what this is. That's cool. In 2042, when we do Back of the Rack season like 18 or whatever, 30, whatever, no, how long is that? Season 60? Alone in the Dark should be on there, because there's this really cool part where halfway through the game, like towards the end, right before the final, I think it is right before the final boss or before like that final area, there's a spot where the game decides to just switch to a fixed camera perspective for no reason. Like, it's just 2 rooms and they decided to do it just for this one scene, and I thought that was a really cool feature. It's a very standardized Resident Evil 4 as survival horror game, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's pretty serviceable, and the combat is a little bit wonky, but it did grow on me. It grew on me enough to where I immediately played the second playthrough and did it with the other character with New Game Plus, just to see all the new stuff. I think it was nice. I like it. It wasn't too long either. It was like 6 to 7 hours. I think that's like the perfect mix for a survival horror game. And the acting, I mean, granted, it has Hollywood talent for the 2 main lead roles. I think it was pretty good. I think they translate pretty good. David Harbour can be a little flat at some points, but Jodie Comer did her fucking thing in this, so. I like to make this joke sometimes when it comes to certain video games when I don't really have anything critical to talk about with them, where I just compare them to basketball players, where I just say like, yeah, bro, Sunset Overdrive, pure hooper, Shades of Pure Antic, Kent Bazemore. I think honestly, Sunset Overdrive, once again, like the other games I mentioned previously, kind of sucks as an open world game for some reason, and then it has the tower defense levels, which I feel is antithetical to, once again, how much movement that you do in this game. The whole point of the game is the floor is on fire, but why am I just skating around the top of the floor? Like, then just let me be on the floor. But this is also at a time in the Xbox One where most games, like, this is the start of the open world. Like, when everybody wanted an open world, and they're like, wow, look, this game's got an open world, wow. So like, this is the start of it, so I can't really fault it for that. But it was kind of alright then, and it's kind of alright now, so it's whatever. Dead Space 3 is more disappointing than it is bad. It is on paper a pretty good game, and I had fun playing it, and it just doesn't sit right to me for some reason. That I just feel like I would have had more fun if this was co-op, but at the same time, maybe I would have hated this game more if I was co-op. So do with that information what you will. Like, it's just weird that you can see the seams of where the co-op elements aren't being like split for single player. Like, there's a lot of xenomorphs, there's a lot of resources if you're playing single player. Like, I never struggled the entire game. I had endless health, endless stasis packs, endless ammo. I was good, and I had the best guns. And there was, people was talking about the loot boxes and all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if it's just because I played maybe like a patched version, but I mean, I played on a native PS3, so I don't know, and I didn't connect to the internet. So to me, I don't think the loot boxes was enough of a hoopla to make this game. Because if you have to pay money for a loot box to make your gun better in this game, when they give you like the best guns at the beginning, then maybe you're just shit. Maybe. I can see how this game could be very inspiring to somebody that played this on a SNES. I mean, the simulation part is probably the weakest part compared to the action stages, and I don't think the action stages are all that good. It's kind of like a jack of no trades, where it tries to do 2 things and it doesn't do either of them really all that good. But I think the novelty of the fact that it is doing 2 things on an SNES cartridge is what makes people like this game. I want to master Fight and Rage. I think it's a really good beat 'em up, and I also think that it has very good character design. I think trying to 1cc this game is the true intention of the developers for this game. Next time that I play this game with a different character, because I think I played for half of my playthrough a gal before I switched to the ninja, I'll probably learn a new character and just try to 1cc it. Kind of like Giga Wings, where I didn't really have an appreciation for Giga Wings until I was trying my hardest to get that 1cc, and then once I got the 1cc, then it was trying to get it consistently. I think that's the fun in Fighting Rage. If you were just a quarter munch this, you would probably come out of here being like, it was alright. And I think there's something special here. I really do, genuinely. Super Meat Boy was more exposure therapy for me on platformers, and it made me diagnose that I like speed when it comes to my platformers. I don't like precision per se. I fucking hate the precision of Super Meat Boy. And once I got to that last area, I was so done with Super Meat Boy that I was like, I'm good. Like I got what I got out of this. Like I don't need. Blister League was fun for the first 2 seasons of the campaign, and then once we got to that 3rd season, that's when it was like, okay, the magic is starting to fizzle out a little bit. Like that, you can see the rubber banding AI, you can see the AI cheating on you, and like if you don't build the characters the right way, like your team, they're just like, well, how was I supposed to know upgrading my players' arm strength will increase their tackle, like for my safety? Who the fuck thought of that, bro? Like, I don't know, the training system was just very weird, and I think Blister League 2, hopefully a lot of the complaints that we had during the Back of the Rack episode is chiseled out a little bit more with the second game. Wu-Chang is an incredibly frustrating game, mainly because I don't think it's a inherently good Souls game. I do think it's a good game, at least, but there's just a lot of weird design choices that I think hunker this game down a lot. There's becoming a point where there's so much fatigue I'm going to have with the wuxia art style that it's like, I feel like every game out of China, a lot of them are just kind of the same shit, where it's like some dark fantasy wuxia 3rd-person lock-on camera ass game, and you got this, you got Where the Wind Meets, you got Black Myth Wukong, you got, it's like, I get it, guys, and I feel like this is one of those games that's going to unfortunately get lost in the mix. Shock Troopers is a cool ass game, period. Pac-Man World Repack is a cool ass game. Jusant was a pretty cool ass game. KOTOR 2, I think, is this low on the list because me personally, I fucked up my experience. I went out of my way to download the definitive edition mods and all the restored content mods and the HD mods and perfect or whatever the fuck for a first time person playing this game. I ran into like a soft locking bug on the one restored content thing, and I had to restart essentially like 3 planets. I had a hard save from like 3 planets ago. Had to do a huge chunk of the game all over again, and it put an entire damper on my playthrough of the game. And that's not to say that this is a bad game. I think it's probably a pretty good game, but if I was to replay this game, I would play it on like a OG Xbox or my 360 because I can play it, but I would play it on console then. Blaster Master Zero 2 is not as good as Blaster Master Zero 1. Unfortunately, I think that it changes a lot for what I enjoyed about the first game, specifically when you go to the over-the-top sections, when you get out of the tank. I think I liked blowing up the game with the wave gun, but the wave gun kind of sucks in this game. And a lot of the guns now have like different utilities that warrant you having to use each and every one of them throughout the game. But for me, I don't know. I just don't like the zippy whoop whoop. Like, I didn't like that. I like the old NES style that it had with the first game. I don't know. It was just too much. Silent Hill 2 is a fun game. It is a good game. But I also think that me personally, I just enjoy Silent Hill 1 more. And maybe I'll enjoy Silent Hill 3 or maybe 4 or maybe F or maybe the rest of the series compared to Silent Hill 2. Mainly just because, like, I don't know. Maybe it's the contrarian or maybe it's the boater in me. But when a game gets a little bit too much like hype up and then I play it and it don't really like resonate with me at that same level, I kind of look at it like a pessimist and a contrarian and go like, what the fuck? This is what y'all was hyping up? And not to say the Silent Hill, and I get it, because if you experience the jump from Silent Hill 1 to Silent Hill 2 a couple years later on the PlayStation 2, you would shit your pants too as well, and you would enjoy this game. I completely get it. I understand for the time that this was probably a masterclass. And we talked about this on one of the status checks deeper a little bit further, but I did use a guide for some of this, so I think that takes away some of my immersion when it comes to the game. I'm in the middle of editing this video and I realized I never recorded anything about Lies of P. I guess that's indicative of how I feel about the game. Honestly, I think maybe if I really enjoyed Bloodborne as a game, that Lies of P would be like my shit, but I didn't really fuck with Bloodborne like that to that degree. And I'm not really starved of Souls games that I could play or go back to. So for me, Lies of P just kind of went in one ear and out of the other. I think I had more enjoyment piecing together the story and learning the characters and the world in this game than I do in a lot of other Souls games. But combat wise, it was solved by the third boss or so. So by that time, I was kind of just going through the motions. Rumble Roses is a fun ass game. Like it really is. I just wish it had more to it. Like it's really fun. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is the most chill game that you'll ever play for the first 10 levels, and then you'll play the next 20 levels and feel like you've entered the 10th plane of hell because of how difficult it is. It is such a huge difficulty spike, but it was so fun. It's an incredibly fun game. It's a game, once again, that I played as a child that I just never really actually sat down and tried to beat, but it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Uppers is a game where you play as JoJo characters, specifically part 1 JoJo characters, as you beat the shit out of each other in order to collect panties from other girls and become the king of the streets or some shit. I don't know, but it's a really fun beat 'em up. It was originally a Vita game that got ported to Steam, and that's why I played this game. It's a great game. It's a great game to just pick up and play. Just like Rumble Roses, make sure you have people around you that are okay with you playing it. It's very fan servicey, but it's also made by the Singer and Kagura people, so take with that information what you will. Feels weird putting Peggle at 40. It's Peggle. Like, what do you like? Do you want me to go into like profound detail about what I liked about Peggle? It's Peggle, bro. Like, even if you don't like puzzle games, I feel like you can start up Peggle is like Zuma or like Bejeweled. You know, you just press it. Your grandma can play Peggle and have fun. Strangers of Paradise is something that annoys me, but I really like about the Neo series is the fact that you can make builds and you can just become this unstoppable killing force monster. Like, I got to the point where I started time trialing the bosses on harder difficulties and just one-shotting them with the Berserker class. It was incredibly satisfying to do with the build that I was able to craft, but also at that same time, going through your inventory and just like sifting through plus 3% chance on block to like stop, bro. Like, if it's not substantial, bro, like if it's not like 25% chance to randomly strike an enemy with lightning, like don't give me no plus 3% on your down special attack. Like, nobody fucking cares, bro. It's literally diminishing returns, it feels like, because I'm not gonna care to always be like, oh, I'm gonna get all the pieces that get plus 4 in. I told myself that I was going to get into the East series, either East or Trials, and I played East, and I just realized I said I played no JRPGs this year, and East technically counts as a JRPG, so I was just a fucking liar to myself. I think that East is incredibly boring as a world, but as a video game, oh, it's right up my alley. It's Sondi core to a T. I just love going into dungeons and getting lost. The only thing I didn't like, and I think this might be an issue, mainly particularly with the fact that I've played so many JRPGs, or the fact that East is like the progenitor to a lot of JRPG tropes. So to me, playing this, I was just like, this is a very lame story. But that might be because East is the foundation for all non-lame stories and what came afterwards. So maybe I already got East 1 and 2 installed, and I did buy 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And Legendary is a masterclass of, it's a good ass game if you don't got a bitch in your ear saying it sucks. Just fighting griffins and flying around and a destroyed New York, like is that not the coolest shit in the world to you? That is the coolest shit in the world to me. Is it one of the greatest shooting games of all time? Is it a hidden gem for the Xbox 360? No, it's obviously in the bargain bin for a reason. But there was a time when you could rent games, especially 360 games, and this is one of those games that you just pick up on a Friday, turn back in on Monday, and just have a blast playing through it. It's a quick 6-hour romp. There's nothing you really can like say other than like, yeah, there's a cool ass, like when you look at this cover and you look at the game, did you think that you were going to get Fear? No, you weren't. I'm conflicted when it comes to Battlefield 6 because when I played the campaign, it's the most tacked on, flaccid, uninspired piece of slop I've played all year. And then I play the Battle Royale and I play Rush and have those real close games and I'm sucked right back into it. It's the most pure feeling of Battlefield I've experienced since probably Battlefield 1, I would say. But that also comes with the caveat that I don't think I'll be playing this game for that much longer. Like usually I feel like I would probably like Monster Hunter, where I would be locked in and this would be my multiplayer game of choice until the foreseeable future. But specifically with Battlefield, I feel like the maps are kind of soft because there's no levolution when it comes to these maps. They are very static, and what that leads to is that there's choke points that are obviously going to be choke points every time because it's either the fastest, quickest, or most efficient way to get to a point, and it just becomes these like trenches. I don't think that that's necessarily fun gameplay after a long stressful day of work to come home and just be reviving people and laying prone and throwing smokes in the same like general vicinity for each map. I think that's where the Battle Royale really does come into play because it does keep it spicy and it does keep it more dynamic. It is pretty good, but I just wish that there was just something more when it came to this game. It just feels there's no sauce. Right when this game starts to get going and you're really in depth and you start to feel like you have actual power, it ends abruptly and it feels like there should be like a Tyranny 2 on the way, or at least another DLC that extrapolates. Like, it feels incomplete. I hate that because I love everything about Tyranny. I was deep in my bag when it came to Tyranny and I loved it, and it was the main reason why I wanted to get into Western RPGs this year specifically. You play as the bad guy and you have varying degrees of how bad you want to be, as well as the fact that you can betray them or work with them or try to siege power for yourself. There's so much intrigue and choices that you can make in the game, and they all have lasting consequences and effects on the people around you even before you start the game. That kind of replayability is what drew me into this game, because I think of Baldur's Gate 3 and all of the replays that I already concocted in my head. And honestly, if we had a back of the rack PC, or if I can get Bendezzer to play PC games, this would definitely be one of those games that would have been on the list for like potential back of the rack games. Goof Troop is too pure to think about it critically. You know, you just kind of play the game, play it with friends, hopefully. You know, I remember playing it as a kid, and you know, we would play it for a little bit and then go outside and ride bikes. You know, it was one of the first games that I've ever emulated and played with people, even with the back in the day with ZS and ES and the net play that they used to have. I used to play with friends through Skype. Goof Troop, I just recently played it again with my partner, and it's still, once again, it's an incredibly fun game. It's so fun to puzzle solve together and be naturally cooperative and trying to fix those puzzles together. It's so fun, and it's just like kind of low-key a jump scare when you beat it and it goes bam, directed by Shinji Mikami, and you're like, whoa. Our Racing Evolution is a confusing game because I really enjoyed it, and it got me to a point to where I was like, maybe I should be playing more racing games in general because I really like this. And while the game wasn't teeming with content and having this full-fledged campaign like you would, you know, at least to expect when it came to maybe a Need for Speed Most Wanted or Carbon or something like that, it at least did what it needed to do, and it did it well, and it made me go even deeper into like going to the customization and messing with parameters and stuff like that I would normally never do in a racing game. So there's more to that, and I like that. I dig that a lot. Dredge is almost too cozy. It gets to a point to where you kind of have everything situated that you need, and you're kind of just going around with the flow and just fishing. Just fishing. It Takes Two succeeds because it forces you to have somebody else to play the game completely. And with that, it completely changes your mind on how everything is progressed through the game. Especially because you're probably playing this with somebody that's not really keen to playing video games. You kind of get to enjoy the scenery, enjoy the world, and like everything seeps in with you a little bit more. Everything that happens, you can bounce off somebody else, just like the characters, on what happened and extrapolate your own thoughts on that real quick. And I think that's really nice. I think that's what makes this game special, and honestly why it won Game of the Year for the year it was released. It's a good game. It's a good game. Ghost of Yotei is an extremely safe sequel, and if you've played Tsushima, then you've played it. I think the thing that pisses me off the most about this game more is the lo-fi mode that they added. Well, I'm sorry, the Watanabe mode. I think that pisses me off more because the lo-fi music is ass. And why would they add lo-fi music to be like, yo, this is inspired by Nujubes and Samurai Champloo's soundtrack, and then you play it and it's the most vapid, lame, like lo-fi girl music you ever heard in your life, and it's horrible. Gameplay wise, it's more of the same. It's more of the same, except instead of stances, you have weapons. You have now a gun and a pistol, and it's the same stuff. It's literally some of the same charms, some of the same passives, all of the same grapple moves, except now you have a wolf. Victory Heat Rally was a sleeper hit for me this year. I wasn't expecting this game to be as good as it was, but it was just really fun to go through the game and try to master each track with the drifting. And I think I just really like racing games where the drift is kind of intuitive and I don't have to actually legitimately drift like I would in a real car. Like, just let me press a button and drift. I did beat all of the Ninja Gaidens this year, and Ninja Gaiden 3 specifically is still one of my favorite games that I played this year. I really enjoyed this. I think it would have been in my top 25, but as I was recording this, I had to reevaluate that top 25 because I realized that's me saying these are the 25 best games I played this year, and Ninja Gaiden 3 isn't the 25th best game I played this year. But Ninja Gaiden is such a stupid ass series where everybody has this elitist, purist, oh, you should only play Ninja Gaiden 2 on 360, or oh, you should only play Ninja Gaiden Black. Like, shut the fuck up. It's all the same shit. I'm going to be fighting the same enemies. I'm going to be doing XXY, XXXX. I'm going to do it in a Zuna drop every single time. It doesn't matter what game. I'm going to do the same shit. Who cares? I originally had Elder Scrolls Oblivion remastered as, I want to say, like number 7. It was for a long time. It was like top 5 games that I played this year. And then I realized that no matter what, I was going to be replaying Oblivion. It just so happened that they shadow dropped the remaster around the time that I was going to pick up Oblivion, because I started playing Oblivion on 360 before this. Oblivion is the first Bethesda game that I ever played, and is also one of the first open world RPGs of this caliber that I played. And I think it was a very transformative experience for me just because there was no guides. I wasn't going on GameFAQs and looking up wikis or best builds or where to get the Wabajack or anything like that. I was just playing the game and experiencing everything and role playing as my characters, and I still did that with this character. I made a stealthy Khajiit. I think this game has some weird Unreal Engine 5 issues. Like, for some reason, every time you go into the main open world, the game runs like absolute dog shit. This has probably been patched because I haven't played it since release. I put in at least like 100 hours. I kind of got to a point where I think either my save was so big or memory leaks or something where it was unplayable. I literally legitimately was getting like 1 frame a second going into the open world, and I didn't know what the fuck was the cause, and I figured, you know what, this is a good time to just call it quits. Slave Zero is fucking awesome. This game is cool as hell, bro. You just run around and stomp on shit and shoot shit. It is so fucking fun. I'm using a lot of explicitives right now because it's a game that fucks. It's just, it knows what it wants to do. You get 2 guns, you can shoot laser rifles. The PC port's kind of a little wonky and took me a little minute to get it to work. But once I did get it to work, fire game from start to finish. For some reason, I don't know if it was just, once again, the PC port. All of the cutscenes, like, literally did not load. It just skipped straight through every cutscene. So I don't know the story. For all I know, the story's ass, but the gameplay's fire. I was not as perceptive on this game when it first came out, strictly because I was being a boomer. Point blank and honest. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was being a boomer about it. It's not my Monster Hunter. It still is Monster Hunter. That is my issue when it comes to this game, is that I really like it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I played too much Monster Hunter. And that is affecting me right now, and especially because I played a lot of Monster Hunter when Monster Hunter Wilds came out. I think I played it nonstop for a month straight. I played a disgusting amount of Monster Hunter. I think for me, when it comes to Monster Hunter, I liked a lot of the negativity and the friction that the game brought. For example, I liked the negative skills that were in previous generations. I like the fact that pickaxes and everything can break, and I understand that in going forward that's never going to be the case, but I also felt entirely too powerful, especially with the sword and shield. The environment isn't built congruent to me against the monster. Everything in the environment is there to help me as a player, and none of it is there at a detriment to me other than the monsters. Like, if I don't bring cold drinks, I can just grab a bug off the ground and I have the same effect as a cold drink. I don't get that punishment for being unprepared. I don't think anybody should be able to get through a Monster Hunter game and get to the end game in such a quick time that I was able to. And I think that is because a lot of that comes from having to wait for a farm, or having to go and grind this level just so I can go mine some ore, or having to fight this monster 30 times because he won't drop that fucking plate. I think that is the secret sauce to Monster Hunter. And then you go into online because you're like, damn, this monster's kind of annoying to fight. I'm gonna at least fight it with other people. Maybe I'll get more drops. Maybe they'll break a part that I can't break. If I do call anybody in for multiplayer, they kind of just pop in like NPCs, beat the fuck out of the monster, carve it, sometimes die and ruin the entire experience, and then they leave. I don't get any lasting experience. They're not in my lobby. There's not like I stop and I'm eating and I'm waiting on people to join and I post a quest and they go, oh yeah, you're fighting that. Hold on, let me change my armor. Like, people just kind of come in, do the shit, and leave. Just feels shallow, feels live servicey in a weird way. And I don't like that when it comes to Monster Hunter. Super Monkey Ball is a weird one to put on this list, especially above Monster Hunter Wilds and all the other games that are above it. Super Monkey Ball represents something greater than this list. Unfortunately, as you saw from my backlog video and from this video, I play a lot of video games, and unfortunately with that comes the fact that I never really get to sit down and really dissect one particular game, because I like going for a new experience over staying with a game. Once I beat a game, I kind of just move on. I don't really do post game or do a whole bunch of other content. But Super Monkey Ball and inadvertently Katamari Damacy both kind of fit that same niche of, once I'm finished with a game, I kind of just bounce into Super Monkey Ball for a little bit. There needs to be more games like that, and I try to maybe put like a roguelike or something of the sorts in my repertoire, but I just kind of like if a game doesn't have an ending, I don't really like playing it. But Super Monkey Ball is a game that's just so simple that it's so fun to play. You're never going to be in a bad mood playing Super Monkey Ball. But at the end of the day, video games are entertainment, they're fun, and I still go back and watch Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ed, Edd n Eddy when I'm just chilling out doing nothing. So why can't I do that with a video game? Just go back into that save of that JRPG that you were playing before, bro. Just walk around again. Just enjoy it again. When I talked about Trepang like an hour ago, the main reason I kind of was really low on that game was because I played Severed Steel, which eats a lot of Trepang's crumbs, but also kind of bakes their own meal. That's a stupid ass analogy. What the f? Instead of just slow-mo and really good gunplay, Severed Steel has this voxel based environmental destruction. Like, you can shoot a shotgun through the floor, then go through the floor, kill the guy, and then shoot a glass door and go through the door to the other side while dodging and shooting other people. Like, the stuff that you can do in this game feels like the things I would have thought of as a kid would be what video games are today, where I feel like a lot of game design has become very soft and very stagnant, and this game does a lot with their game design that feels like no matter who plays it, everybody's going to have a different experience with it in a good way, and I think that that's really cool. A couple years ago, I made a challenge to myself to beat all of the games that predate Elden Ring after I bounced off of it when it first came out, and I finally did that so I could beat Elden Ring. And Elden Ring is a really conflicting game in my head, mainly because I wish that the world was more alive than it is now. It just feels like a playground for you to do Souls things, which isn't a bad thing per se, but I don't know, it's just something about me enjoyed the more structured layout of the other Souls games. Made everything feel a little bit more memorable than this game, because a lot of it feels kind of like they just copied and pasted a little bit like that, and I didn't really like that per se compared to the next game on this list. Neo fucking Neo. I am so glad that I beat Neo 1 and 2. And then they immediately after that, they announced Neo 3, because I was like, yes, I want more. I was about to go back to Rise of Ronin. That's how much I was craving more Neo. I think I'm a Neo guy over a Souls guy. I kind of like the weird number goes up, bullshit, destroy everything in your path kind of vibe that Neo gives. I wouldn't even kind of describe as a Souls game, even though it is a Souls game. I would say it's more like a Diablo. And I really like that when it comes to this, because the challenge after a certain point becomes inert to just sheer willpower. And that feels fun. I'll extrapolate more when I talk about Neo 2, probably in the future of this video. But Neo is definitely easily one of my all-time favorite games. If I was to make like a top 25 list of my favorite video games, this is definitely going to be on that list. This is kind of cheating because I just played professional difficulty. I had infinite ammo. I think this was the last guns that I needed to get infinite ammo on. It was like 2 guns left. So it's like I'm at this point where I've completed 100%ed mastered this game now. Just lock into some mercenaries mode and have some fun. It's very hard to say that this isn't my favorite Resident Evil game. And I hate when people say like, oh, this isn't real Resident Evil, or it's too action oriented. And it's like, this is Resident Evil 4 but more. It's so fun. It's perfectly paced. It's almost a perfect game. I love it. One game that isn't perfect, and this is kind of going to be a long-standing theme coming up for the rest of the games up on this list. Dragon Age Veilguard. I'm so glad, one, that they gave it away for PlayStation Plus for free, like 6 months later, so I didn't have to pay for it. But I am kind of sad that that's kind of indignant to the reception that this game got. Because given the background of the development of this game and how they had to workshop this game from a live service game into a single-player game, it's still a solid 7 out of 10, and still a pretty good Dragon Age game, I would say. And we'll talk about this later with other entries. I feel as though people are not acceptable to change when it comes to a series. If they like something, they don't want it to change. And that's very interesting coming off of Resident Evil 5 for the last entry, or even Elden Ring, where you have games that do have radical changes. And if you go from the first game to this game, it is a completely different game. But the reception is still the same. And I don't know, because I haven't played any other Dragon Age game other than a smidget of Inquisition. So I don't know if the vibes is there, but I feel like this is the same vibes of a Dragon Age game. So I don't know, maybe next year I'll be making this list again and I'll have Dragon Age Origins and 2 and Inquisition on there. But at least for the time being, Dragon Age Veilguard as a standalone action RPG is a great game. I didn't really give this game the time of day that it deserves because everything else came out around that time, but Lunacid is a very unique game, and it is a game that probably will make me go back and play the Kingsfield and Echo Night Beyond and all of those other first-person FromSoft games, because this is the exact vibe that I was looking for, and it's the exact vibe that I feel is very Sondi coded now. Is I really like being in a dark, decrepit dungeon with nothing around me and just trying to figure this shit out. I love it, and Lunacid gives me that vibe 1000%. Funny story, I got to this crypt and Death literally followed me through walls like on some Spelunky shit and killed me, and I did not save for like 2 hours. So I lost a lot of progress and kind of soured me on playing the game more, but I powered through that a little bit more and I got close to the end before Southland Midnight and Oblivion and Expedition 33 kind of took over my life at that time. I just love the vibe of this game. It is a very cool, oppressive game. Dead Space 2 is the exact same thing as Resident Evil 5 in terms of you being able to just pick up, go, and have fun with it, in terms of how good the movement feels, on top of how good the guns feel, on top of how perfectly paced it is. It is the exact same game, except this game's a little bit more scary than the other game, and you have a little bit more space powers, but they feel the exact same niche. Okay, so Ikaruga, I tried to make my Giga Wings for this year. I think I should just read you the top rated post on Backlog because it sums up my feelings on this game a lot. Listen, dog, I'm nowhere near disciplined or thoroughly mastered to let alone discuss a majority of what this genre has to offer yet. But if reading, I will not die until I achieve something. Even though the ideal is high, I never give in. Right before being affronted with a nigh unphrasable barrage of bullets doesn't awaken a burning resolve within you, do you really enjoy video games? And you know what? They're right. I scrapped the script that I was making about this game. I was going to make like a solo Sondi select, but I didn't know if that would even be recepted good, especially with a game like this. A game that's gotten a lot of flack for being a God of War like or a Souls like, but I don't think it's either of those games. It's just an action adventure game with a lock on camera, unfortunately. It's a really fun game. I like the platforming a lot with your Eldritch Fox dude, and the combat makes you feel super powerful. There's also this really fun mini game called Sebo, which is like Chinese checkers a little bit, and you can go around the world and collect all these pieces, and I think I had more fun playing that than I did of the actual game, but that's just me and weird mini games and video games. I digress. Flintlock isn't going to win any awards, obviously, but it's still a solid like 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10 if we were rating games. I don't think a lot of people are receptive now to games. And like I said, we've kind of switched over to it's either dog shit or the greatest thing of all time, and this sits firmly in the middle, and for who it's for, you'll really enjoy it, and if you don't, you'll bounce out before the first hour anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, obviously, it's number 15 on this list. That means I fuck with it. I've been begging for a Musou roguelike game for like 10 years now, and we finally get one. I'm kind of like indifferent on it. Of course, I did lose a lot of sleep playing this game, but it kind of gets to a point, and I think this is just indicative of the entire roguelike genre, where you get either too good or too powerful, or all of the out of run passive upgrades that you have that carry over between runs makes you like so powerful that you're just breezing through the game constantly. Then you kind of lose the fun. That's how Warriors Abyss started to become, where there's so many upgrades on these will trees, and every character that you unlock gives you a certain passive boost to a certain stat, and it's like you get to a point where it's like, bro, I can't die until at least the third phase or area, so it's not really fun anymore. And besides, they just straight up port characters from a varying degree of Musou games. Like, you have some Samurai Warrior 4 characters, some Samurai Warrior 3 characters, some Dynasty Warrior 8, but then some Dynasty Warrior 9 variants, but then some, like, it's weird. And then there's certain characters that aren't there. Like, why is Lu Ming not here? What's going on? Where's my boy? Blaster Master Zero is a incredibly fun game, and I loved the wave gun in this game because you can just melt bosses in like 2 seconds flat on some speedrun strat looking stuff. I like the Metroidvania feel of it all. I like the way that the worlds are neatly packed and designed around both forms of traversal, and it's just a really fun game. Like, if I can see why some kid that played this on a 3DS would make this their personality. I understand. I completely understand. It's one of those games where I wasn't there for the console and the original release that it was at the time, but I totally get it. Neo 2, I wanted to get into like New Game Plus with this game, and there's so much more tools, so much more guardian spirits. There's a lot to this game. It's up in the air if Neo 3 will live up to these expectations that Neo 2 has set, especially because it's going from these scripted levels into these open zone areas, like mini Elden Ring areas. Hopefully it is a pretty good game, because I mean, at least Rise of Ronin had an open world, and I did enjoy the maps of Rise of Ronin for the first 2 maps, but then once you get the next 2 maps, it was like, okay, it's too much, bro. I'm not trying to do all this. And by that time, you were already super powerful and OP, and doing any more of the side quest or any of the other companion events wouldn't have really done anything but just make you completely broken. So hopefully Neo 3 balances out a little bit more. I hate when people be talking about Ninja Gaiden 2 and they be like, oh, you gotta play this version. Like, it's the same shit, bro. It's all the same shit. And I said the same thing with Ninja Gaiden 3, so I feel like I'm just a broken record right now. But Ninja Gaiden is, once again, one of the greatest character action games of all time. Ninja Gaiden 2, once again, is like the Devil May Cry 3 of the Ninja Gaiden series. And it's still, once again, a really incredible game. I'm putting Binary Domain and Wet here at number 10 and number 9 because until Back of the Whack Rewards comes out, maybe even during the recording, I won't know which one I like more than the other without really consulting Bendezzer and really like getting down to the nitty gritty about my feelings on both of these games. On one hand, we have a game that just feels good to play. You're jumping around, high flying, getting combos, slashing people, shooting in slow-mo, 2 dudes. And then you have a game that feels good to just shoot robots and has a really weird and shitty controls scheme with the voices, but as a third-person shooter is a really good game. It's all a matter of game feel, and I feel like both of these games are some of the best feeling games that I played all year round, and they both came out relatively around the same time. I have to record these both at the same time because I'm probably going to say the same thing for both of these games. I just fucking love it. It's a great game. I love these games. Echoes of the End is a surprising game to me. It's surprising with the amount of puzzles that it has and how intricate those puzzles get. Every time that you feel as though this game is going to become formulaic and that it's going to do something that you already know, it does something that just shifts everything. Like, I didn't expect to be double jump, gliding, then grapple hooking through a upside down Prey 2006 reversal of gravity. Like, the game just does so much, and every time I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Why? How did they think of this? How did they do this? This is before they dropped the enhanced edition that updated gameplay, graphics, and combat and the regular locomotion of the game, and added in a whole bunch of new relics that change around the way that you play the game. Once again, it's just like Flintlock. I don't necessarily think that this is one of the best games ever made. It's a good first attempt from the studio, and I do believe that the story is one that you have to experience for yourself. I liken this game a lot to 360 games like Binary Domain and Wet. Those games that in that era that you would play and you would just enjoy it for what it is. And that brings me perfectly to number 7. I've always said my mantra in life when it comes to this video game shit is, this is a good game if you don't got a bitch in your ear saying it sucks. And Wanted Dead is exactly that. Wanted Dead is just a fun game that knows it's a game and does not care. Why am I getting ramen facts for 5 minutes in between missions? Why am I shooting but then I can't just shoot my pistol? I have to get an assault rifle. There's so many weird choices in this game. Listen, I played Devil's Third on the Wii U when it came out, and I loved that game at the time. So having Devil's Third but better, I can't complain. I love it. This is so me coded. I love it. It's the aesthetics of this is just a paradise of cool shit, and I love it. Dynasty Warriors Origins is the latest Dynasty Warriors game that made me really remember what made me love this series and why 25% of my personality is this series. It's peak, man. It's so peak to actually go around and legitimately be killing thousands of people per stage. I love the story mode in this game now in the open world. It really genuinely felt like how I played Dynasty Warriors games, specifically the Empires games, where I would make my own character and just kind of just do whatever at that point. And I appreciate this game for that, though unfortunately there is some trappings that I don't think makes this game a good game to play if you're not really like a Dynasty Warriors fan, because it expects you to replay the game and then there's branching paths depending on if you do certain things within stages. But once again, this has this weird open world map. Dynasty Warriors, the strength has never been its character writing, so you have these characters that are just like, my ideals are great and I feel as though we're going to change the world and put an end to this chaos. And it's like, okay, but we just sat down at this tea shop because you told me to sit down at this tea shop and hang with you. Like, what are your hobbies, bro? Feels like every character talks with this idealistic Dynasty Warriors dialogue, but that works in a Dynasty Warriors 7 or Dynasty Warriors 8 because you're only getting a cutscene before and after a stage, and then you go in to fight thousands of people. But in this game, I'm doing small skirmishes. I'm legitimately living in the world of Dynasty Warriors. These conversations kind of feel out of place because it's like, damn, nigga, can you talk about anything else at all? We're just gonna just politic all the time. That's not fun. I want to know these characters. You also don't get to play these characters, so it kind of is a caveat on its own. There's no free mode, unfortunately. It's a weird game. Now that I think about it, it's a really weird game, but a really fun game. It's excellent. I love it. So a little weirdness about Vampire the Masquerade. Some kid back in 9th grade, he brought his laptop in and he showed me this game and was like, yo, you gotta play this game. This game is so cool. And instead of playing the game, I read a lot of the novels and books and comics that were built around the World of Darkness instead of playing the game that everybody loves about the World of Darkness. And I kind of get the hype. This is a game that's pretty shitty, but carried by its story and dialogue. And I think more people yearn to just be able to be a vampire chilling out. Like, I can imagine a world where people expect the sequel to be this grand Skyrim Bethesda-like RPG where you can do whatever you want and go within all of the different subsects of vampire society with all of these weird eclectic characters. I can see a world where a lot of people want that. But for what it's worth, this game, while it does have a open zone world-esque and different areas you can go to, it's really a pretty linear romp. But for somebody that likes the World of Darkness, once again, I was one of those guys that championed for Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, so I really enjoy anything World of Darkness, and I'm gonna love it regardless of the fact, minus the visual novels. But I don't like the visual novels. That's why there's no visual novels on this list. It's one of those games that I really genuinely wish that we could cover on Back of the Rack, especially because I feel like this is one of those games that fits the criteria criteria of the series, but I just, we don't really cover PC games over here, because if we did, oh my god, that's a whole nother can of worms. But Sorry We're Closed is such a queer ass game. It's such a love letter to Silent Hill and OG Resident Evil survival horror games of that sort. And it's a weird mix, because you have this Killer 7 ass attack where you zoom in and you go first person, as well as the characters, which I feel is the biggest indication of a game that I'm gonna like, when I can talk about side characters off the top of my head, like Chamuel or the guy from the shop. I just love every character in Sorry We're Closed, and having that reprieve, kind of like a Persona game, of doing a dungeon and then coming back and interacting with the characters, increasing and doing quests with each one and increasing your standing. I think that is a fun mix and I don't think this has ever been done with a survival horror game, and as a game it does succeed. And right after I beat this game, they added a new game plus and a hard mode, so I will definitely be checking this out on a second playthrough. Yeah, remember what I just said about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline, where it's kind of a shitty game that's carried by its story and writing? Same kind of thing with Bloodlines 2. But the difference is, it's not a shitty game, low-key. Like I said, everybody wants this Bethesdian open world vampire RPG, and that was never going to be the case with Bloodlines 2. And once again, just like Dragon Age Veilguard, if you followed the development, you knew it wasn't going to be a 10 out of 10 game that they could somehow just shit it out from all of these development troubles. Is it a bad game per se? I don't necessarily think so. That's why I have it at number 3. I believe that I was so engrossed in this world and the characters. Fabian should be announced as one of the people for Best Actor at the Game Awards, or if not, I riot, because he does a phenomenal job. Him and his voice actor, they are amazing. They really sell this game a lot, especially with the way that the combat and the way that this game works. It would remind you a little bit of Dishonored, and I wouldn't go in here expecting you to have like branching paths and going through like a ventilation system to sneak past everybody or talking your way through a conversation. This is a very linear game, though there is a little bit branching paths depending on certain choices that you have. But as a game, and as a Vampire the Masquerade game where you can finally play as a vampire that's not a visual novel, I think is nice. Is it going to live up to the standards that everybody thought for the second game? No, I don't think so. And of course, everybody couldn't wait for when this game released to dogpile and do their viral Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 sucks, wow video, and I'm gonna die on this hill, just like I die on the hill for Forspoken, where I say this is a good ass game when you don't got a bitch in your ear saying it's not Bloodlines 1. Take everything else around it, take the subtitle away from it, take the 2 off the name, and just play it as a game as a vampire. It is a good game. And unfortunately, just like the vampires in this game, I feel like there's a lot more politicking around the game than there is of genuine critique and criticisms about the game. Once you start dogpiling on a game and everybody picks your game to be the one flavor of the month game that we all hate on, it's easy for the actual genuine conversation about the game to be had. But like I said, if you go on certain subsections of the internet, they hate it. If you go on certain subsections of the internet, they love it. If you just genuinely pick up this game and play it, even if you get it on a sale, you will probably like this game too. Is it the Bloodlines 2 sequel that you wanted? What even is a Bloodlines game? Let's talk about that. But we won't talk about that because it's a whole tangent aside. It's like saying Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't like Grand Theft Auto 1 and I fucking hate it. Grand Theft Auto, who cares, bro? I just talked about Dynasty Warriors. The first game was a fighting game. Sequels don't have to be the same shit. Hell Is Us is probably one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. It's extremely depressing and oppressive, and adding in eldritch beings that are rampaging through this war-torn area only adds to the feeling that this game brings. I never felt comfortable in this game. It was a very uncomfortable game in terms of both the sheer amount of horrible war crimes that everybody commits against each other in this game, but also just trying to piece together the world, and just the fact that it starts out with saying there's no waypoints, there's no quest markers, there's no quest log. You have to figure everything out yourself. Get a fucking journal and get the writing. I have pages upon pages of notes and tidbits and logs of where I needed to go back to and who I needed to talk to and stuff like that for this game. And I felt genuinely accomplished playing this game because of that. I had to pay attention to every nook and cranny, every detail of this horrible, horrible war game. Like, I'm talking staring at the charred bodies of an entire school still burning as the character mentions, oh my god, it reeks. Or walking down the street and seeing it riddled with bodies and realizing they were all running away from that firing squad that's also dead down the street because the monsters attacked them. Or the kid that's missing an arm as a loudspeaker is preaching this pre-recorded message about how their race is inferior and they're going to chop off the arms of anybody because they don't deserve to work or be human. And then you see this little kid missing both his arms and he goes, I kind of miss my arms. When is this going to be over? And that is Hell Is Us in a nutshell. Like, I hate that it took me 20 hours playing in to reach these certain man-made horrors and be like, oh, Hell Is Us. I think this game is just so compelling. It's so interesting. I don't necessarily think that the combat is the point of the game, and I know a lot of people will like to talk about the enemy variety and of the sorts and repetitive combat. Just diving into ruins and navigating these archaeological digs as you also have to contend with people that want to kill each other, and you are always get there at the aftermath of people committing genocide and killing their own neighbors because they're of a different dialect. It's horrible, but I love it so much. I don't usually put such hyperbole on a game as this, but South of Midnight is genuinely one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Talking top 10, one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. I shedded real tears to this game multiple times just because of how relatable this game is to me. I'm Southern raised. I'm a little Haitian boy. I've heard of the voodoo and all that stuff. So seeing a little bit of myself and a little bit of my family and a little bit of where I'm from in this game is refreshing because it's taken seriously. All of the characters feel like people that I knew around my life in my childhood. They all feel like people that I know now living in the South again. The soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a video game ever. And I ever will. Like, there's nothing that's really topping this. There's songs that move me to tears. The characters are so realistically written. They're so well crafted. The way that the Miles Morales like claymation kind of feel that the game has looks, it's perfect to me. It's fun to platform and progress through this game. Every upgrade that you get is gotten at the right amount of time. Once again, just like Hell Is Us, a lot of people critique it for the combat and the enemy variety, but once again, I don't believe that combat is the point of this game. The point of the game is the story, the world, and the art around that story. Combat is just a means to an end. I enjoyed playing this game, and I enjoyed going into everybody's home and it feeling like a Southern home. All the knickknacks, all the doodads, the way that the houses were structured, everything just felt so real to me. It's a game that legitimately, once I finished, I sat there as tears was flowing through my eyes and I cheered. It was a great game, and only the games revered in my top 10, in my top 5, honestly, are games that no matter when I play them, I'm always going to feel the same feeling that I've had when I first played those games. It's a everlong feeling of whimsy that I can just like remove all bullshit about the game that I have and just completely play it fresh every single time in my head somehow. In South of Midnight, I feel like it's one of those games that I could do that with because the world is so lived in and there's so many experiences that I haven't had as a person. I would catch something and be like, hold on, whoa. And I think that is the reason why it's one of the greatest games I ever played and the greatest game that I played all this year. And now I can breathe. If you're still here, then you're a real one for listening to me yap about 100 games nonstop for 2 hours straight. Probably should have said this in the beginning. But comment the game that you like the most this year in the comment section below. I don't care, bro. Thank you for watching. That's it, man. I just had to get on my soapbox and just talk about video games, man. I've been itching to make another Sondi Select just to talk about anything, and maybe I will make some more in the future. I do have one planned, but the biggest thing for me when it comes to Sondi Select is I kind of have this overarching story that I wanted to tell, mainly about myself and how I enjoy video games, and this is kind of a reprieve from the backlog of videos that I have in my head and thinking of what I should be doing or what I should be releasing next in this grand narrative that I'm telling, the Sondi cinematic universe or whatever the fuck. But do the things that YouTubers tell you to do. Have a blessed one. Play more video games. Read a fucking book. And most of all, whatever game that you're playing is a good game if you don't got a bitch in your ear saying it sucks. So play more shitty games. They might be the greatest game you ever played, but you won't know because you think it sucks because somebody told you that.